Salt Pool Stabiliser is part of the balance range. It's a chlorine protector. With a salt pool, you have a salt chlorinator which generates chlorine from the salt in the water. That chlorine has no protection from being broken down by the sun's UV rays. So we add stabiliser to the water, essentially like a sunblock, to protect the chlorine and to make it last longer in the water. If you don't do this, your salt system needs to generate more chlorine more often because the chlorine's not lasting as long in the water, which will mean that the salt cell won't last as long. So it is far cheaper to keep stabiliser in the water than to replace your salt cell earlier than necessary. To add salt pool stabiliser to the water, it can be a little bit difficult. It's probably my least favourite product for adding, but if you follow my tips, you'll be fine. It needs to be mixed with water before addition to the skimmer. Now sometimes when it hits the water, it goes lumpy and crunchy, so I recommend using hot water. If you still get a bucket full of crunchy lumps of stabiliser, then sit it aside where it's safe and away from children and just let it sit for a few hours. I often find that it will just soften it enough that you can stir the stabiliser. The stabiliser is not going to dissolve, it just becomes a slurry and able to be mixed and poured. So to add it, with the pump on, pour it into the skimmer. It will go down through the skimmer and gets to your filter where it will sit and slowly dissolve as the water passes over it. Really important while the stabiliser is sitting in there that you don't do any backwashes, probably for about 36 hours or so. So there you are, that's Salt Pool Stabiliser. There are a couple of salt systems out there that don't recommend the use of stabiliser in the water. A couple I can think of in Synergy units and Equilibrium. There are others as well, but those are the two common we see around here. So if you have one of those units, then you don't use the Salt Pool Stabiliser. Everybody else with a salt system, if your system doesn't say you can't use it, I highly recommend you do. It will save you a lot of money in the long run.